On the 3rd of February of 2011, a group of young Moroccans called for protests on reform on Facebook that should be held on the 20th of that same month. And on the 20th of February 2011, these demonstrations took place in Rabat, Morocco. They began calling for political reform by demanding an elected and accountable government that would control social, economical, and security policies. Demonstrators wanted the role of the king to be limited, since he had been in control of all senior governmental and military appointments. They did not want King Mohammed to be removed, and neither were they against the monarchy. They solely were after constitutional reforms. For example, they wanted the prime minister to be elected by the parliament and not by the king. As the demonstrations took place, which counted tens of thousands of participators, the political parties like the Islamic Justice and Development Party or the Socialist Union of Popular Forces distanced themselves and remained quiet. Unlike the bordering countries, they did not use as much violence on the demonstrators. The king showed willingness to reform, and on March 9th announced that a committee would form that would revise the constitution. The new constitution gives more independence to elected officials and promotes gender equality, as well as the importance of the language of the Amazigh people. On the 1st of July, only 2 weeks after the new constitution was prepared, a referendum was held. King Mohammed wins, but demonstrators wanted deeper reforms. In November, the parliamentary elections were won by the Islamic Justice and Development Party, and in January of 2012, a new coalition was formed with the head of the party, and thus the party took governmental control. This was the first time the king had to choose a prime minister from the largest party. Many protesters at this time still felt like their demands were not met, and in May, many took to the streets to protest against the failure to tackle the social problems like unemployment and failing to deliver reforms. In 2011, protests had limited results, and the promise had eventually faded. Thus, in Morocco, as of 2019, they regularly hold protests for several problems that can range from water shortage to sexual violence. As of 2019, it was reported that Morocco on average experienced 48 protests in one day. They still experience poverty, corruption, and unemployment.